Welcome. A little bit late, but it's late for everybody. Welcome to the Cornbread and Kool-Aid podcast. My name is Demetrius. On the late games, we jump right into it. We always acknowledge the super producer extraordinaire, Mike Ward. This podcast is for fans of the Detroit Lions. It is very late on Monday night, week 4 of the NFL season. The Lions just finished off a Monday night win at home over the Seattle Seahawks. So sometimes, as a Lions fan, you have to remember who your team is. And the old days, the final score was 42-29 because of a late safety that doesn't make sense to anybody, but doesn't matter because we have a couple of rules on this podcast, right? We do not apologize for wins. We never apologize for how the Lions won a game. We have history. We have 50, 60 years of history. So we do not hide, and we do not run, and we do not apologize for victories of any kind. So here's the thing. It's a double-digit win against an undefeated team. So why do I even have to give that disclaimer is the actual question. But you do, because for some people, and you can tune into the radio tomorrow afternoon and you'll hear those people. They'll tell you what they should worry about, or they'll come up with something because that's what they do. And I'm going to, I don't go as scripted when it's this late. I got to work tomorrow. If you're watching this, you probably got to work tomorrow. I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to blast this one out because I am excited and I do need to burn this energy because this is the offense that I think makes them Super Bowl competitors. This is why I feel very comfortable using the word Super Bowl when I talk about this football team because of what we saw tonight offensively. Now, here's the thing. The defense that's played the first 3 weeks didn't really show up tonight. I'm not 100% sure that's true. I think Seattle's a good team, number one. Geno is creative. Kenneth Walker had 3, maybe 4 plays. It looked like he gashed us, but he really did. So high level is simple. They go to 3-1. They stay a game back of undefeated Minnesota. We'll deal with them in a couple of weeks. You go into the bye feeling good, although, like I said, some people on your favorite radio station tomorrow are going to call in and tell you what's wrong and everything that's bad, their whole negative Nancy thing. In fact, there's an interesting story. This morning, I was listening to the radio, and one of the hosts of the show brought up how the city embraced Jared Goff and how sometimes at hockey games, or as the case was Friday when the Tigers clinched, and if it wasn't so late, I'd give you 10 minutes on the Tigers, but hopefully they play well in Houston and we still get to talk about them. I'll do one next week during the bye. But at the Tiger game Friday night in Detroit, the fans were chanting Jared Goff because it's still a thing. And it was kind of a debate on the radio of, is this thing dead? Should it be over? Why are people still doing this? And you had people, those people that I routinely talk about how much I hate, writing into the show, calling into the show, saying, it's over. And, oh, by the way, he's not really playing that well. And I think one of the hosts kind of agreed with him. And he had pitched a perfect half last week. Didn't play as great in the second half, but he played well enough. I think he had one bad pass last week. So when they decide today on the radio that Goff hasn't played that well, people shouldn't still be chanting his name, which may represent some, we should not think of him as highly as we do type of thing. He just went out and threw the quarterback equivalent of a no-hitter, right? He goes out, and I can't imagine his quarterback rating is anything but perfect, which is like 158.3 or some number coming from some formula. But when you don't have an incompletion, whether you throw 20 or 30 or 18 passes, none of them touch the ground 2 touchdowns, almost 300 yards. If that's not perfect, then that formula just sucks, right? Because that should be the definition of perfect. The quarterback just played really well today. And I'm not, despite the way it may have felt to some people, there was never a moment in that game where I didn't, one, know the Lions were the better football team. It is very important to know that there was never a second of that game where I thought, oh, they might be as good as we are. Now, it's a primetime game, and we're now 7-1. I didn't play a single down. I won't do that. The Lions are 7-1 in their last 8 primetime games. That's enough data points to think that's something. But 2, the things that Seattle were able to do felt to me like gifts from the Lions. We have a lot of penalties. 12 for 101, if I'm not mistaken, was the number. I think we missed tackles. I think we didn't play discipline on defense. So as great as the offense was, and it was, you don't put up 42 in an NFL game unless you play very well. Your quarterback doesn't do the equivalent of a quarterback no-hitter. Your running backs played well from the start. Still didn't get as much demo as I wanted, no matter what the numbers were. But everything got spread around. Laporta had moments. J-Mo had moments. Obviously, St. Brown, who throws a touchdown. But at the end of the day, Jared Goff was the best player on the field. I don't care what DK did. I don't care what Geno Smith did. That's an NFL quarterback in an NFL game who's perfect. So I think it's a record. I'll flesh all that out. Again, it's late. I want to burn this energy and get this out. So high level, a little bit about the game, and then some what we see coming forward with the bye week being 3-1 at the bye week. High level, they needed to put together a good offensive game. And the defense made 2 plays. They made play in the first half, the big turnover, and then they made a 4th down play in the second half. Outside of that, but I can't bash the defense because they've put together 3 pretty good efforts coming into tonight. And we historically have trouble with mobile quarterbacks. This might be the best receiving trio in all of football. Kenneth Walker can be a beast, but truthfully, when you break down the film, Kenneth Walker didn't kill us. He gutted us 3 times, I know, for probably 65 yards just on those 3 runs, but they were impactful. My problem with the defense was self-inflicted stuff. I am just going to live with the penalties we're going to get from our corners, right? We could go back to that, playing a lot of soft zone and teams just finding wide open players, or we're going to get PIs, we're going to get defensive holding, we're going to get illegal contact. Both Arnold and Carlton Davis are aggressive, handsy, physical, man cover corners. That was by design. That was on purpose. And quite frankly, I think Aaron Glenn is probably fine with it, more than fine with it, because despite 12 penalties for 101 yards, half of those probably on those 2 players, they won this game by double digits. Should have been a 15-point win. And there was never a point in this game where I felt like, oh, no, we're in trouble. Historically, I would have felt that. I felt like they're going to they can't stop the Lions offense. I think one drive got killed with a penalty. I think they had 1 3-and-out, and I blame that on a horrible 3rd down and 1 toss play, right? And I'm not going to bash Ben Johnson. I like Ben Johnson. I really like Ben Johnson. That's a horrible play call, but that's fine. I'm sure Aaron Glenn had some scheme up stuff where I just think Seattle's talented on the offense side of the ball. Geno makes plays. Geno's probably better than most people give him credit for. With DK, Lockett, and Smith and Jigba, along with Noah Fant and Kenneth Walker, Seattle's a good team. Kind of might be sleeping on Seattle in the NFC West. But, and I know I'm jumping around, no structure tonight. Again, I just want to cover it. I think that you will not get this effort from the defense every week. Everybody doesn't have Geno. Everybody doesn't have that receiving trio and the running back. I think that the defense could have played better, but I'm not going to beat them up after the 3 previous weeks they've turned in. The reality is simple. If the Lions offense plays at this level, they're going to be tough to beat anywhere. If Jared Goff plays at this level, they're going to be really, really tough to beat anywhere. Now, Jared Goff's not going to throw a no-hitter every week. We haven't seen that. That's a complete offensive game. I think there were 2 drives that were empty. The 3 and out I talked about, and the first drive. I think the first drive, if you count the safety, but that was another bad play call, by the way. Why are you calling a pass play there? Run the ball, force them to use their last timeout. And then I think you punt it away, or maybe you got another down to get to the 2-minute warning. But that was a little more dramatic than it needed to be. Kudos to Kirby Joseph for just coming up with big plays. So I don't really feel bad like bashing the defense, because they gave up 25 points. They gave up some big plays. They didn't get off the field on 3rd down when they had many chances, but that stuff you can clean up. I'm just willing to live with 5 penalties on our corners every single week. I think it is just something we have to accept. It is going to be what it is. Arnold's going to get better, but I think it's a style. And if you think about it that way and say, because they make plays. Carlton Davis made some big plays in this game too. And I think that Arnold will get better. I don't think they'll give up as much as they did today. Seattle probably had 500 total yards, and they still lost by two scores. There's times when you got to win because your offense has to put up 35 or 30 would have gotten it done. There are times when your defense will win your game. I think they did it last week. I think they did it week 1. When the Lions get this type of complete offensive performance, it is going to be very, very difficult to beat this football team. And I still see 13 wins. I still see Minnesota's going to have to stop the Lions before I get concerned. And that's going to be a good game, by the way. I think Geno was running for his life all day. And I don't think Sam Darnold is Geno Smith. I think that they have Justin Jefferson, and I like Jordan Addison. But I don't believe that Minnesota presents the same offensive challenges that Seattle does. And I watched, shockingly, all of Minnesota Green Bay Sunday. I'm not impressed with either of those teams. I'm not worried about it. Doesn't mean that in one of those 4 games, I contend we'll win 3 of those 4 games. I contend the Lions will win 3 of those 4 games. The Minnesota game is the last game of the season in Detroit. It might not matter. But I don't think that Minnesota can do to Detroit's offense what they did to Green Bay. Jordan Love didn't look 100% to me. I think that they probably should have played Malik Willis that game. I don't know. But the fact that they didn't have the killer instinct to stomp Green Bay out when they were up 28-0, the fact that they made a lot of mistakes themselves. There were turnovers and bad plays by both teams in that game. Neither of those teams, neither of the teams that played Sunday would have beat the Lions team that played Monday night. That offense, when it clicks, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch. And when Jared Goff plays quarterback like that, I don't care. You go, he's not Patrick Mahomes, or he can't run like Lamar or Hurts. I've said many times, and I wouldn't mind doing another 20 minutes right now on telling you what I want my quarterback to do. I want pre and post snap. I want him to make good decisions about checking out of plays when he needs to, when he comes up and says, kill, kill, kill. I think he got that right every time tonight. I think every throw he made tonight, obviously every throw was good. You're not going to get that no-hitter from Jared Goff every week. But I contend he has played pretty well through 4 weeks of football. I contend if we get anything close to this Jared Goff, week in and week out, there's 13 wins on this schedule, maybe 14. I'm not worried about Dallas. I'm less worried about Philadelphia now. Certainly not concerned about San Francisco. Was really about we played them once, but remember this: the Lions have the obvious goal that everyone has. You want to win the Super Bowl. The Lions' goal is to get the number 1 seed. The step this year is for the NFC Championship game to be in Detroit. And what I will say to you is, if that offense plays anything close to the way they played tonight, this team's going to win 13 or 14 games. And if you can look at the rest of the schedule, they're going to get a little healthy with this bye week, probably get Branch back, which would have helped tonight. The defense can't play this way every week. Seattle offers a unique set of problems for this defense. But think about the distribution. Laporta probably only had, and I should have the stats, but it's too late. Laporta had a good game, had some big catches. J-Mo, sometimes you just need one. If you give me one big play a week from J-Mo like that, cool. St. Brown made the plays when he needed to, and Gibbs and Montgomery, best 1-2 punch in the NFL. Tell me a backfield that's got a better combo. And the offensive line wasn't healthy. If they get Frank back in 2 weeks, which by all accounts he wanted to play tonight, you're going to get Frank back. Frank is everything, because when Frank goes out, and oh, by the way, Owasika played fantastic left guard today, because you had to slide your left guard Glasgow down the center. Owasika played left guard, and they played well. Goff had a clean pocket most of the day. Both running backs did well. This offensive line isn't just good with the starters. They have depth. Now, you can say to me, Seattle was missing some guys, and I know they were, and that's fine. But guess what? We were missing a Pro Bowl center. That's meaningful. We were missing Frank. We lost Davenport. We were missing Brian Branch. Everybody's missing somebody. So I don't really do the injury thing that much. What I will say, again, I will learn to be okay with the cornerback play. It's not going to change, by the way. You're going to get 3 to 5 defensive holding or PI calls every week just from Davis and Arnold. So get used to it, accept it, because it's the thing. Why can't we just say Jared Goff's a really good quarterback? Right? I don't know what else he can do. Opportunistic defense. Kirby Joseph made the big interception at the end. They got off the field on that 4th down when they needed to. They got the big turnover in the first half. Sometimes Dan Campbell calls it complimentary football. There are weeks where the defense is going to win them games. I think the defense won the game last week. Certainly against the Rams, the defense made some big plays. There are weeks where the offense is going to click. And when you put up 42, you usually win. You can look up the statistics for the number of times a team has scored 42 points and lost. But at some point, the defense got tired, and the Lions needed a drive. And I think they took the ball 80 yards on 7 plays, punched that last one in. And it was a knockout. It was a gut punch, even though they eventually gave up the safety. Geno made a lot happen. So the high level stuff, the big plays in the game were obvious. The DK fumble was a massive play, changed the game. I think the JMO play, massive play, changed the game. You need those plays. The better team gets those plays. Good teams gets those plays. They did their version of a hook and ladder. So in terms of just the game, I was impressed with Seattle. We went in thinking they hadn't beaten anybody. Seattle's a decent team. They're a good team. We're 7-1 in our last prime time, our 8 primetime games. Lions play well in prime time. It's not an opinion anymore. There's data to back it up. I think that offense has the potential to be scary, and you saw it tonight. That is that offense at its best. That offense playing like that, it's a lot of wins. That's a lot of wins. A lot of teams are not, they're just going to get rolled. They will have some blowouts. And beating a team by 13 or should have been 15 probably constitutes a blowout in the NFL. They certainly covered. Now, you can pick apart the defense if you want, but I just think, one, Geno was running for his life. He was running for his life. And there are quarterbacks who are not as mobile as Geno on the schedule that they're going to get to. They're going to get Sam Darnold. Hutch makes plays when he doesn't get sacks, by the way. Hutch gets holding penalties. Hutch forces quarterbacks to throw the ball earlier. Hutch just can dominate a game even if the stats don't show up. So the really high level is this is a really good football team, and they still haven't played a complete game on both sides of the ball in the same week. But that's good teams can get away with that. When you're as good as the Lions are, you don't have to play your best. They didn't play their best against the Rams. And if you think about their schedule, 3 of their first 4 games were against playoff teams. They've put together, they've pocketed a couple of really good wins already. And they get to take a break and get some guys healthy. And then they come back for the gauntlet, is what I'm going to call it. The gauntlet is coming up, the next 5. 4 of them are on the road. I think Dallas, Minnesota, maybe not Dallas. Yeah. Minnesota, Dallas, Green Bay, and Houston, all on the road, are in there with a home game against, don't remember. There's a home game in there too against somebody. But we'll know. 6 weeks from now, we'll have a pretty good idea where they stand. And that's for everybody in the league. There are people who are ready to say Minnesota's going to win the North. People are ready to say Minnesota's the best team in the North. And that's cool. You can say that. They beat an injured San Francisco team. They've won games. I wasn't impressed Sunday in the game of Green Bay. Green Bay just has to get healthy. But the Lions will be in Minnesota in 3 weeks. 3 weeks, I think. So we'll find out. I think that looking forward as to like what the rest of the season holds, I think the way the team plays, they only have one cold game. If I'm not mistaken, they have a cold game. Chicago, probably. I think a November trip to Chicago might be their only potential cold weather game. I guess it could be cold in San Francisco in December, week 17. But they don't have that many outdoor games left. They get to play Minnesota inside. Lambeau, I think it's early enough that the weather shouldn't be that bad. I like where they sit. I'm very, very happy because I needed to see that offense. I told my colleague Jake at work today, I need to see the offense that we know exists. And that's what we saw. I don't think it was a close game. In the moment, you feel the intensity because Seattle didn't seem to want to go away. But when your team beats an undefeated team by 2 scores with the guys we had down, because everybody's got somebody down, it's an impressive win. They're going to grind out wins. So I'm looking forward to the narrative tomorrow. I want to hear what your favorite radio guy has to say, how he crafts this. At the end of the day, you won that game by 13 points with mistakes on defense, 12 penalties, some sloppy stuff on defense, some chippiness by the refs. There was a holding call on Carlton Davis I didn't like. There was a call on Terry and Arnold I didn't like. But what you see, and I won't stay long, I'll close it up pretty quick. That offense can beat anybody on any field. That defense has got to clean up some stuff. But that team, with that talent and the depth because of the injuries they have now, can play with anybody. I mean, as a fan, but I'm a cornbread eater, Kool-Aid drinker. As a fan, when I go look at the schedule and I've got it on the board in my kitchen, there's no game there I'm scared of. Nobody. Now, that's not saying they're going to win all the games because they're not always going to. Offense isn't going to play that well every game. But my feeling is that if you're a Lions fan, you should feel you should feel encouraged because I had a situation with my brother Kenny a few years ago. A situation with another individual, and Kenny was a little worked up. And what he said to me, because I tried to de-escalate it, and he says, "No, he needs to know who I am, right?" And at the moment, I wasn't thrilled, and I said, "No, Kenny, he doesn't need to know. We need to handle this better, right?" I feel like coming into tonight's game, the Lions needed to take Kenny's mentality there. We have to remind Seattle, because we owed them for 3 straight years. We have to remind Minnesota and Green Bay. We have to remind the entire National Football League of who we are. And I felt specifically like Jared Goff was due for one of these. Forgot about me. You forgot about me, right? You guys think I'm a game manager. You guys think I'm a mid, right? Okay. Put us in the power rankings at 12 or 13. Rank me 18th in the quarterbacks. Okay. And I think quietly that little baby-faced assassin smiling, looks like the nicest guy down the street, carries a chip. And the world's his oyster. He just signed a new contract. He just got married. And that dude came to the postgame and said, "Oh, really? Did I? Come on, Jared Goff. You knew you were." She asked him if he knew it was perfect. He said, "Oh, really?" Now, he's probably not like, I don't know. He knew he was pitching a shutout. And that quarterback plays that way. That offense clicks like that. Yeah, we're going to be tough to beat. Even when the defense doesn't play well. And I give the defense a C minus today. Where he looked as a really good player waiting for the football. And all he did was exactly what he needed to do. So wrapping it up with simple, good win, big win, big because it was Monday night, big because you owed Seattle, big because they're a good football team. You needed to go into the bye feeling good, coming off 2 games. And like I said, there are those out there. We know who those guys are. We're going to find a way to twist this. But I'm holding on strictly to the offensive performance, to the way my quarterback played, and what I saw from Minnesota and Green Bay doesn't scare me. San Francisco's not healthy. I don't know what to do. I was concerned about Philadelphia, but not so much anymore. I don't know that we're not. I still feel like we're the best team in the NFC. I'll close it with that. And Minnesota fans, and I'll talk to one in a couple of days. Mr. Scott, I'm waiting for you. I still think we're the best team in it. Nobody in the NFC is going to beat that team, right? They're just not. You're not. That offense is too good. That defense is going to play better. When they put together a complete game, they're going to be scary. They haven't even played a complete game yet on all sides of the ball. They're doing enough to win. So I'm encouraged. If my opinion matters, I would say, yeah, they are exactly what we thought they were. They are, when healthy and clicking, a top 5 offense. When they're not shooting themselves in the foot with penalties and mistakes, they're still a top half of the league defense. And they're going to fall a little bit. I think there were 10 coming in. They're going to fall a little bit. But at the end of the day, that is a football team that I think can win 13 games, can host the NFC Championship game. I think that team can win the Super Bowl. As much as great as Baltimore looks, and we'll get to see if Buffalo's real and Kansas City's always out there. I like my team against anybody. I like that offense against anybody. So there's that. So that one's easy. It's too late to take too long. Go Tigers. Now we get to check this, get up, and hope the Tigers do what they need to do. I got friends in Houston, but go Tigers. So I hope everybody has a good week. Probably do something Sunday. Ideally, it'll be half baseball and half Lions. But if not, we'll probably do something next week on the bye week. Just catch up, catch our breath, talk about the health of the team, what we see for the rest of the schedule. But make no mistake, when you beat an undefeated team by 2 touchdowns, by 2 scores, night, and your quarterback throws a shutout, it's a good day. It's a good day. So take care, everybody. Appreciate. We like thumbs up and hearts and likes and forwards and subscribes whenever you watch this. I appreciate it. Always thank the super producer, the godfather of the podcast, Mike Ward. And hope you have a good night. Hope you have a good day on Tuesday. And see you next week.